Okay, now my next plan to try to get the Oscar to eat is to give him some competition for the food. Now, you may have noticed in my last video that we went to the store and picked up some Jack Dempseys. Now it's time to put them in the tank and start floating them. That is a lot more water than I thought it was. Okay, we'll let them float for about 20 or 30 minutes, and then let them go and see if the magic works. Okay, the 30 minutes have passed, so now it's time to release the Oscars in the tank. And just like before, I'm not going to allow this water into the tank because they've been in there too long. It's become too polluted. As soon as it's exposed to air, it would be very bad for the fish. So I'm going to open it and get them out very quickly. And there they go. They look to be doing pretty good. Exploring right away. Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful Jack Dempsey there. And these two fish were actually in the tank with the Oscar before I bought the Oscar. I went back to the same tank and picked up 2 more fish. So hopefully the competition for food will get the Oscar eating and keep the Jack Dempseys eating. Everybody's looking good so far. Now the Jack Dempseys are looking pretty comfortable with the tank. One of them is already going for food. They've only been in there about 15 minutes. And now because the man at the store said that he thinks these guys have already paired up, I'm going to go ahead and put this piece of slate in the tank that they use for breeding, just in case they decide to go that route. Now this is what the man at the store told me. I've never bred Jack Dempseys before, but I have bred Oscars, and I do know Oscars use the same sort of thing. They use a piece of slate to lay their eggs on. So just in case, I want to make sure that I'm ready here. And at the same time, just in case they make or lay eggs while I'm at work, because I work long shifts, I'm going to take these plastic plants and I'm going to create a sort of a semi-barrier so that should they decide to bully the Oscar, they'll feel like he has a separate territory to hide behind, and they'll feel like he's far enough away from the eggs that it's safe until I can get him out of the tank and put him in a different tank. So I'm just using these plants to create sort of a wall, an imaginary wall, that should they decide to mark a territory and keep the Oscar out, he can at least hide psychologically on the other side of these plastic plants. You don't know Jack? Well, this is Jack. Originally, I intended to introduce him and the other one as Jack and Jill, because if you recall, the man at the fish store told me that they had paired up, but upon further research here, I believe they actually gave me 2 males. So I don't think Jack and Jill is going to be quite appropriate for these two. This is the one that was supposed to be Jill, but as you can see from what I've read and what I've heard on the internet, the spots on her chin should be lines instead of spots. So I don't think that Jill here is a female. I think I've got a pair of males. But that's okay. I mean, they're really nice fish, and I'm very happy with them so far. They all get along, And that's half the battle. Later on, we'll see if we can find them some girls. But now I've had them here at the house for a few days. And you may notice the water in the tank here is a little bit cloudy. And also there's quite a bit of food on the bottom here that they haven't eaten. So normally, what I wanted to do is I really didn't want to show you guys a cloudy tank. I wanted to make it pretty and then show you a pretty tank, and then everybody would think I was perfect and the best fish keeper in the world. But I thought, you know, that's not really fair, because then people have bad luck, they feel bad about it, and they shouldn't. So this tank, even though it's only been here for a week, because they're not eating the food too much, it's clouded up on me, and because I work so much, I haven't had a lot of chance to change water. So today I'm going to do a water change. I'm probably going to do about a third, and then in 2 more days I'm going to do at least a third again, and then just try to keep that up until I get the water cleared up. Right now they're still a little bit uncomfortable because they haven't gotten used to me, because I'm always at work. They don't get to see me that much. But eventually we'll get them all calmed down and up to speed here. Now normally to get the water out, I would just use a hose like this and then put it into a bucket. But the nice thing about having this fish room like this is I've got a drain in the middle of the floor, or I can simply run it out the door, because this is, even though I've called this a garage, the basement, this is the basement, but it's actually the basement garage. I have a garage upstairs and this one downstairs. So I'm turning this basement garage into my fish room. And so if I call it a basement, it is a basement, but it's also a garage. Some people had asked me about that. So I'm going to go ahead and get this started, and then and start getting that water going out the door. Now to get the water started, a lot of people like to put this in the water and then suck on the tube, but I'm not that interested in putting fish poop in my mouth. I simply bury the hose, put my thumb over the end, and then just let it drain. But since I want to use the hose and take it all the way outside, I'll just simply put it in there as it fits rather conveniently. I use this to get it started. I can clean up the gravel like this, and then once I've decided I got enough out of the gravel, I can just take the hose all the way up, put it in the water, and it will continue to siphon until I decide I've got enough out of the tank. Okay, we're coming up on about a third of the way down now, almost there. And one note you might want to take advantage of is, I learned the hard way, be careful where you put the end of your hose, because whereas this thing here will not suck up your gravel, that hose will happily suck it up and shoot it right out the house. I have a nice little pile of gravel out in front from one of my other tanks. So now, because where I live, they don't put chlorine in the water or any chloramine or anything else, all I have to do to refill is simply reverse the hose, which is also why I'm only doing a third, because I don't want a drastic water change to be too much for the fish. Otherwise, I do more for this dirty of a tank. And there you have it, 1/3 water change. Water already looks a little clearer, although it's a little stirred up because I just cleaned up the gravel some. But the fish are clearly more happy with this new water. They were even playing in the hose water as it was coming into the tank. Still makes me nervous using hose water because where I grew up my whole life in St. Louis, that water's all chlorinated, and to pour it straight into my tank just makes me nervous. But I haven't had any problems, so everything's going good so far. Well, I've got you guys here. I'll show you a tank that's doing quite well, very happy with. And that's the angelfish tank. Very nice tank. Fish are looking great. And these goldfish I put in there, I cannot believe how fast they're growing. They're about, oh, I don't know, 7, 8 times what I put them in there. This one here is really cool because this one was originally a brown, dull, lifeless color. But I knew from experience that goldfish that color change color as they get older. And you can see now he's got some real cool colors. He's got some orange, some white, he's got some black up on his head. But the size of these guys is just crazy. Originally, whenever I got them, they were about the size of 14-cent goldfish you get at the store for feeder fish. Now they're the size of 28-cent fish. Okay, they're even bigger than that, but yeah, they're pretty cool. And then the angelfish are doing fantastic as well. And this is, after all, an angelfish tank. Eventually, I'll take the goldfish out, put them with the other goldfish, and I'll get some more angelfish in here and make it more interesting. I still need some design here. It's obviously quite dull with just this one color, but otherwise this tank is doing really fantastic. And there's our Oscar. He always seems to be protecting that piece of slate. I think he's waiting to get himself a girlfriend. And the 2 Jack Dempseys, even though I think they're both males, they're getting along quite well. The little one seems to follow the big one around like a little brother would, just following his big brother. And the big brother tolerates him so far. Okay, and I hope you guys all enjoyed tonight's video. And be sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification button so you can get a notice next time we put out a video. And let me know what you think. Do you think I have 2 boys here, or do you think I have a boy and a girl? I really think it's 2 boys, but I'm not an expert. At least not yet. One day. See you guys next time. Have a good night.